Now at 7 o'clock, police are looking for the driver they say hit two teenagers in southeast Portland before taking off. What we know about the suspect. Plus,
it was so fast. I watched my leg get hit, a lot of my friends.
A man accused of driving into a crowd of more than 50 people appearing in court, while witnesses say they're afraid it could happen again.
We're also tracking a new wildfire in the Gorge that's already prompted level 1 and level 2 evacuation orders. More on that coming up as the 7 o'clock hour of sunrise, streaming live on KGW Plus, starts right now.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us live at 7 o'clock on your Tuesday. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. We also have Chris McGinnis and Rod Hill ready to rock and roll at 7 o'clock here on a Tuesday. So, Rodney,
yes,
let's start with you and your forecast.
Oh, okay. Starting with me. We have another sunny day with a hot afternoon. Today, very much like yesterday, and Portland did make it to 90 yesterday afternoon. Here's our state capital, of course, down in Salem. Our live sky camera showing the clear skies. Number 65 now in the 7 o'clock hour. Of course, temperatures are starting to warm. Here's downtown Portland. Light northwest breeze, 63 degrees. Looks like we'll be about 77 at noon. So take advantage of the morning hours into maybe early afternoon. Later today, just getting up to about 90 again for high temperature. Much cooler weather, though, comes in overnight tonight into tomorrow. We'll have that in your 7-day forecast. Here's Chris.
Maybe you got time to answer this too. I wonder if today is our last 9 o'clock sunset?
Yes.
Shed a little tear for that, maybe. I don't know. All right, let's get you back to the Glenn Jackson Bridge. We had a quick clearing fender bender there. I bring that up, though, because usually I-205 South is in much better shape than I-5. Right now, it's a little slow. I don't know why that guy's flashing his lights there, but in any event, traffic already starting to clear out a little bit. I-5 from Clark County, this is the live look at SR 500. That's getting busier. And right now, we're just shy of 20 minutes to get you in from Main Street down to the Fremont. And last but not least, over on the east side, the Banfield, this is near the Gateway District, so there's I-205 traffic zipping by on the top part of the screen. This is westbound I-84. That's tightening up, of course, and right now the trip in from Troutdale is right around 23 minutes. China?
Thank you, Chris. The Yamhill County Sheriff's Office is investigating after they say multiple people were stabbed and a deputy shot at someone. This happened just before 7 o'clock last night on Southeast Sheridan Road in Sheridan. The stabbing victims were taken to the hospital. No word on the extent of their injuries or if anyone was killed. We will continue to follow the story and update you with more information.
In Tigard, two teens are at home recovering after they were hit by a hit-and-run driver in southeast Portland. Investigators say the two 18-year-olds were hit in a crosswalk by a driver who ran a red light. This happened after midnight 2 Sundays ago at Southeast 122nd and Market Street. One of those teens suffered cuts and bruises. The other one broke her right leg.
I think he hit me with the left corner of his car because I have a bruise that's like the exact shape of a headlight, like distinctly the shape of a headlight.
I do think there's an issue of like that was seriously concerning. If you hit two young pedestrians, another car, and your instinct is, I got to get out of here.
So again, police are still trying to find the driver of the car. They describe it as a black or dark colored SUV. If you know anything, contact Portland Police.
In Washington County, a man is being charged with multiple counts of attempted murder after police say he allegedly drove his truck through a 3-inch thick steel gate at a Sherwood RV facility, then started randomly shooting at people. 41-year-old Travis Bloomhagen right there made his first court appearance yesterday. He did not make a plea and will remain in custody until at least next week. We spoke to the owner of the RV facility where this all took place.
He actually also shot at a kid in their detail in a pickup. So that kid ran for cover and hid in a storage unit.
That is wild.
Unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Authorities say while he was trying to get away, Bloomhagen rammed a Sherwood patrol car and fired his gun at officers. A Tualatin police officer fired back. Both the suspect and the officer in the patrol car were taken to the hospital.
A man accused of driving drunk and into a crowd of more than 50 people early on the 4th of July appeared in court yesterday. According
to witnesses, he hit as many as a dozen people after running a stop sign in Portland's Old Town. And as KGW's Catherine Cook found out, some of those witnesses fear it could happen again.
Moments of chaos in Portland's Old Town. Just after 2 a.m. Friday, police say the driver of this gray Mustang blew through a stop sign near Northwest 4th and Cooch, hitting and injuring multiple people. On Monday, the driver, 32-year-old Tyler William Miller, was in court.
He then barreled through a crowd of innocent bystanders.
He's charged with DUII, reckless driving, assault in the 3rd degree, and 15 counts of recklessly endangering another person. Miller pleaded not guilty.
It was so fast. I watched my leg get hit, a lot of my friends.
2 victims called into court asking the judge to keep Miller behind bars.
We have to relive that moment every day, and I do not think that any of us would feel safe knowing he's back on the streets and can get behind another vehicle drunk how he was.
Court documents show Miller's blood alcohol level was .19, more than twice the legal limit. One officer writing, "I told Tyler that he could have killed many people. I asked him if he realized what he just did, and he told me no."
Initially, they were up at the window saying you need to stop your car, put it in park. And he was fumbling with the controls of the vehicle and actually backed up quite a ways. And so they're still trying to get him to stop. They're worried that someone else might get hurt.
Initially, police said 4 victims went to the hospital, some with broken bones. In court, prosecutors noted 5 other victims had since come forward.
Very serious crime and very serious consequences coming at him.
Attorney Jason Kafori is representing one of the victims.
We'd like witnesses and we'd like people to come forward that can both give the police information and also the victim's information.
In court, prosecutors noted this was not Miller's first time facing drunk driving charges. Last year, he completed a diversion program in Washington County, which led the court to dismiss a DUI charge.
What has clearly been shown is that what he was taught during the diversion program really did not stick.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
The judge set bail at $50,000, and Miller is due back in court next week.
We are tracking a wildfire this morning in the gorge, prompting level 1 and level 2 evacuation orders in the town of Wyeth. That's about 8 miles east of Cascade Locks. The most recent update shows the Wyeth fire has burned at least 25 acres. At one point, it was impacting transmission lines, cutting off power to Cascade Locks, but we know at this point the power is back on. Evacuations are focused on the Wyeth campground and around Herman Creek Road. I-84, meanwhile, still open through that stretch, but officials say smoke could impact drivers' visibility.
Meantime, Pacific Power has been shutting off electricity in some spots this summer to reduce wildfire risk. That includes one outage in Bend that impacted thousands of people. Pacific Power says these outages are triggered by enhanced safety settings, like when wildlife, vegetation, or high winds interfere with power lines, especially in areas flagged with elevated wildfire risk. But some locals wonder if it's going too far.
I'd like to see a mutual agreement and an understanding of why the power was automatically shut off. Maybe they've gone too far on the spectrum where they're shutting the power off when it really didn't need to be.
Pacific Power says these safety settings help prevent wildfires. They say customers got an email before fire season telling them that outages could become more frequent. The utility says it's also working to reduce the frequency and duration of outages.
All right, Rod Hill back in the mix here this morning on a Tuesday. So, Rod, what are you looking at there behind you in the map?
Well, a reminder that we do have fire weather warnings out today for parts of our state, primarily for thunderstorm activity expected in central and eastern Oregon later this afternoon and this evening. Some of those strikes may come with very limited, if any, rainfall at all. So the main warning area in red today is Bend, Madras, up through Crook County and out toward John Day. These lighter tan colors are actually fire weather watches for tomorrow. So a couple days of watching high fire danger across the eastern portion of our state. Futurecast is going to show you those scattered storms popping. Not a tremendous amount of activity expected today, but some. And we were just talking about that fire near Cascade Locks, east of Cascade Locks. Here's the Oregon Veterans Home camera out in the Dalles, where temperatures will be heating well up into the 90s today. It's 69. Winds are light this morning, but west winds in the gorge will be picking up today. This afternoon to about 10 or 20 miles per hour. Here's a camera in Hood River, Cathedral Ridge Winery, kind of on the west end of Hood River. Beautiful early morning in the vineyard there. Again, temperatures in the 90s with afternoon west winds. The winds will be downright gusty at times, it looks like tomorrow in the gorge as cooler air starts to move in off the Pacific. For this morning in the valley, we're clear and we have light winds, and now in the 7 o'clock hour, we're mostly in the 60s, 62 in downtown Portland and up into Vancouver. Salem right now reporting a temperature of 65. The afternoon map does show the thunderstorm threat east of the Cascades. Mid-90s in Madras. There's a heat advisory from Hermiston up through Pendleton and up into Washington. This shows Pendleton at 4 o'clock, 100 degrees. Your actual high could get up to about 104 today. 90-degree heat expected in Salem. And Portland may just get up to 90 again today. We did do it yesterday. Then tomorrow, there's the big cool down that will bring a return to gusty winds in the gorge. Clouds and 75 in Portland tomorrow. Clouds and then sun, 78 on Thursday. And then a sunny weekend up coming. Here is Chris McGinnis.
Rod, thanks for that. Let's take it back up to Clark County. A live look at I-5 at SR 500. Slow and steady from here down to the Interstate Bridge. Normal for this hour of a Tuesday morning commute over to the Gladstone area. This is I-205 South. Something was hanging up the drive here just a couple of minutes ago. It looks like things have improved, at least temporarily, but that's always a slow spot once you get south of Gladstone down towards the Abernathy Bridge. So obviously traffic picking up there. We'll hop over to Wilsonville, northbound I-5. Not looking all that bad, but it is bunching up a little bit just north of, or from the Boone Bridge, I should say, up to Wilsonville Road. And last but not least, let's take you out to Skamania County. In about 45 minutes from now, WashDOT set to start some paving on SR 14 on a 2-mile stretch just west of Franz Road. So to do that, this is only 2 lanes through here. They're going to alternate lanes with flaggers, etc. So just expect some delays, maybe upwards of 15 to 20 minutes as you travel on that stretch of SR 14 today. China?
Thank you, Chris. Coming up in just 2 minutes, the latest on the flood sweeping across central Texas as the death toll continues to rise. Plus, sightings of Travis Decker in Idaho. A look at where police think he may be hiding when Sunrise Streaming at 7 continues.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
Your time now is 7:13. The death toll from the Texas floods has reached more than 100 people, and officials say that number is expected to increase. Rescue crews continue to comb through the region searching for any survivors. On Monday, the 4th day of the search, 10 girls and 1 counselor from Camp Mystic were still unaccounted for. Weather experts say more rain is expected in central Texas and a flash flood risk remains in the area. Meantime, the National Weather Service says its Central Texas office was prepared for the devastating storms, but there are growing questions about the timeline of issued weather alerts and possible gaps in the warning system. Scott Friedman has more.
The deadly storm that swept through the Texas Hill Country, shining a light on the critical role of National Weather Service forecasters, called on to issue alerts when every minute counts. As NBC5 Investigates reported, Weather Service records show forecasters warned of flooding 12 hours before the storm and then issued more urgent warnings in the early morning hours before the Guadalupe River reached flood stage. The union representing forecasters saying Weather Service offices in Central Texas were prepared.
The staffing that we had in both San Angelo and San Antonio offices, we had adequate amount of staff to get out the alerts and warnings to the public.
But union officials say if flooding happened in other cities across the country, some Weather Service offices might not be adequately staffed. In Texas, the union says 30% of jobs at the Weather Service office in Houston are vacant. They say the Fort Worth office that covers the DFW area is better staffed, but still has 3 vacant forecaster positions, according to union officials. The union fears forecasters working long hours to cover extra shifts can lead to burnout, especially during the dangerous summer storm season.
They are tired. People are tired. People, they need to get a break.
Forecasters have complained about staffing shortages for years. In fact, 10 years ago, NBC5 Investigates reported there were about 500 vacant frontline forecaster positions at Weather Service offices nationwide due to budget cuts and periodic hiring freezes. But the union says the situation became more critical this year when they say about 600 staffers left the agency. About 100 probationary employees were laid off in Trump administration cuts, the union says, and hundreds of workers took early retirement offers.
That's 600 less people working to help keep you safe every day.
In a statement to NBC5 Investigates, a National Weather Service spokesperson said the agency plans to hire additional forecasters soon, saying a targeted number of permanent mission-critical field positions will soon be advertised in the coming weeks. The agency said it's also temporarily assigning employees to offices with the greatest staffing needs, but a spokesperson did not respond to questions about specific staffing numbers. In recent days, the Weather Service has said warnings it issued in the Central Texas floods provided hours of lead time. But questions remain about whether those warnings reached victims in an area with sometimes spotty cell phone coverage and no local warning siren system. Senator Ted Cruz saying today he wants an assessment of how to better warn in the future.
There will be another flood, there will be another disaster. But next time there's a flood, I hope we have in place processes to remove especially the most vulnerable from harm's way.
The Forecasters Union agrees.
We do need to have some type of national assessment on this.
Hoping more research and more trained eyes on the sky can help the next city in the path of disaster.
All right, so that's obviously one point of view. Someone I trust was talking yesterday about the fact that they could have added, I'm going to say dozens, but I think more accurately hundreds of other forecasters to this in the days leading up, and they were not going to forecast what happened.
Yeah, this was, I've looked a lot into this. This was not a staffing issue. This was a failure of modern meteorology to recognize a bullseye of rain that fell so quickly. They had rain rates coming down at 6 inches an hour that rose that Guadalupe River from knee deep to 30 feet in less than an hour.
Right.
And meteorology just didn't pick up on that. I don't know if we'll ever be at the point, maybe AI will help. I don't know if meteorology would ever pick up on such a once in every 100 or once in every 200 year event, which is what this was. And the other problem here is we've done a lot of stories on sirens for tsunami warnings, you know. So there was a window between 1 and 4 or 1 to 5 in the morning that morning that if you're going to get emergency personnel out into the field with bullhorn saying, get up, get out of your homes, you've got to evacuate. That's what this needed. And as far as I know, it didn't have that. I haven't heard that it had that. So how do you trigger that process to happen? To me, that's the discussion.
The door-to-door warnings almost.
Yeah. Here's a look at the fact that the Guadalupe River was the one in that Camp Mystic that went up to almost 30 feet from being knee-high in less than an hour. Really phenomenal. And then it quickly came down on Saturday. It's July 5th, and now it's back down to about 3 feet. They're not expecting any significant, an update to the forecast, they're not really expecting any significant rain in this immediate area today. The rivers are back in their banks. There's no flood watches, no warnings, nothing like that. So that's good news. But I'm sure there will be a lot of discussion on this because you also need to realize this is an area that gets flood warnings all the time. Well, I've been there. Flood warning, yeah, okay. Catastrophic warning. Oh, whoa, what's that? Maybe we need a different level of warning too when we want to grab people that's more like an evacuation warning. You have to get out. And keep in mind, when this happens in the middle of the night or before sunup, it's that much more difficult to reach people, right? All right, here we go. We've got clear skies inland here in Oregon and Washington. We've got a cooler batch of air sitting offshore. You can see the cloud cover. Those clouds will be coming in with the cooler air tomorrow. So it was 90 yesterday. We're going to be about 90 in Portland, Salem, and Vancouver again today. If that's too hot for you, maybe put your outdoor plans off until tomorrow, because tomorrow we'll have clouds and we'll have only 70-degree high temperatures. Here's Willamette Valley Vineyard just south of Salem. You can see the clear skies out over the valley. Here's another vineyard. This is, of course, our live Chehalem tasting room camera out in Sherwood. Just a gorgeous morning, and clearly with 90-degree heat coming, this is the more comfortable part of your day. We're at 61. We're 57 up in Kelso. We have fog and low clouds for a second morning in a row along the coast. Yesterday, most of you I think all of you actually ended up getting some sun in the afternoon, but it was a gradual process. There might be a gradual process again today. Inland 69 in the Dalles, 70 in Pendleton. This shows thunderstorm activity to the right of the screen in Central Oregon this afternoon. Red flag warning for high fire danger there. Otherwise, the clear skies inland. Here's the march of low clouds coming in tomorrow morning and maybe a touch of rain in green along the north coast. Models love tomorrow just being cloudy, and if that's the case, we'll do well to get up into the 70s on your Wednesday. And then we have morning clouds backing off for afternoon sun on Thursday, but that will be another comfortable day to be out and about. Valley highs today, though, 90 in McMinnville, 91 degrees in Salem. Valley winds expected to be light for a second day in a row as well. This shows Battleground holding at 88. Longview 84 and Vancouver at 89. I've got Portland with a chance just to get back up to 90, which is what we did yesterday. The clouds in 75 tomorrow, the 78-degree Thursday. And then we could hit 90 on Friday. Right now it looks like the weekend is sunny with warm to hot afternoons in the mid to upper 80s. And that is your update. Here is Chris McGinnis.
Looks like typical mid-July. Let's get you out the door with a quick look at the drive times, and they are in okay shape. I mean, it's mid-morning. We're in full swing, so we're a little thick right now. Let's check out the inbound Sunset riding the break a little bit as you come up towards the hill, also staring right into the sun at the Sylvan Hills. So that's one of our pinch points, always this time of a Tuesday morning commute. Westbound 84 bunching up through the Gateway District, of course, and the trip out of Clark County now about 25 minutes to get you in from Main Street down to the Fremont Bridge. Let's keep it in Clark County. We'll take you up to 179th. In about a half an hour or so, WashOut will be closing the northbound 179th Street exit as they do some installation there with some wrong-way driver technology at that exit 9 northbound I-5 ramp. So be on the lookout for that closure. Also, throughout the day today, SR4 will be closed on and off between Fernhill Road and Mill Creek Road. This is between mileposts 37 and 47 between Wahkiakum and Cowlitz County for fire containment and cleanup. So expect some delays there, guys.
Thank you, Chris.
From Chelan County to the middle of Idaho, that's a long ways.
New leads in the search for Travis Decker, where police think he may be hiding at this point, when the Sunrise Show continues after this.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Welcome back to Sunrise. The U.S. Marshal Service is teaming up with the U.S. Forest Service and local sheriff's office to search an area of the Sawtooth National Forest in central Idaho. That's because they received a tip from a family who says they spotted Travis Decker in that forest over the holiday weekend. Decker is the man accused of killing his 3 young daughters in central Washington several weeks ago. Natalie Swaby, with her sister station in Seattle, has the latest.
Authorities in Idaho say Travis Decker, the Chelan County father accused of kidnapping and killing his 3 daughters, might be hiding in the Sawtooth National Forest.
From Chelan County to the middle of Idaho, that's a long ways. I've hiked those mountains. I've driven that same route for 30 years.
John Urquhart, King 5's law enforcement analyst, says it's desolate with difficult terrain.
The mountains are, they call them the sawtooth because they look like a saw blade on edge.
A family visiting the forest on Saturday told the U.S. Marshal's office they saw someone in the Bear Creek area matching Decker's description, with a long ponytail, wearing a black hat, a cream-colored t-shirt, and black shorts. That led to this alert about Decker having a history of hitchhiking, warning people nearby not to pick up any hitchhikers, and contact law enforcement immediately if there's more sightings.
This is such a horrible, horrible crime.
The Decker sisters, 9-year-old Peyton, 8-year-old Evelyn, and 5-year-old Olivia, were with their father for a court-ordered visitation. On May 30th, their mother reported that Travis Decker failed to return them. And days later, there was the discovery of the children's bodies at a campground near Leavenworth. They had been suffocated. Their father is now a fugitive.
Of course, we're getting several reports of potential sightings. We're trying to follow up on that as best as possible.
That's what Chelan County Sheriff said last month. And now a new possible sighting is putting the focus on this forest and raising the question.
How did he get from central Washington to central Idaho? If they can get more tips, maybe they can narrow that down.
Again, that was Natalie Swaby reporting for us this morning. Officials say since this possible sighting, more tips have come in, and investigators say they're checking on all of them. There's also a $20,000 reward for any information that leads to Decker's arrest. Coming up in our next half hour, the largest layoff in the history of Oregon state government. What Governor Kotek had to say about the hundreds of cuts to ODOT staffing. Plus, fires on the 4th. We're going to share some new details from Portland Fire and Rescue about people ignoring the citywide ban on fireworks this past weekend. The 7:30 half hour of Sunrise is coming up next.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Coming up on 7:29 on your Tuesday morning drive, and just like that, the drive time's creeping upward here. 27 minutes right now, the inbound I-84 commute to get you in from Troutdale. Meanwhile, as we switch over to the west side, inbound Sunset, obviously slow and go, climbing the hill towards Sylvan. We'll switch gears real quick. Got another vantage point to show you the trip getting into the Wilsonville area. I-5 northbound also a little plugged up coming up and over the Boone Bridge. Again, all of this normal for this hour of a Tuesday morning commute. A little slow out of Clark County, but not terrible. Less than 30 minutes to get you in from Main Street down to the Fremont Bridge, right?
Not terrible.
Not terrible.
This is in the studio, not driving.
That's true.
Good morning. We have a clear sky morning out there. Here's our state capital, 65 degrees is our temperature. More of a blue sky over Portland. We're at 63. We think this is another day that heats up to about 90 in the afternoon, so take advantage of the morning. 77 at noon, and there is that high of 90. Now, tomorrow, maybe you have some things you want to put off until tomorrow outdoors because we'll have a big cool off. Wednesday gets clouds, 75, and then still pretty comfortable, 78 degrees on Thursday.
If you like a classic fried chicken sandwich, then you are not alone.
Not alone.
Well, I know Rod Hill definitely likes
Yes.
it. Yelp says searches for chicken sandwich were up 125% in June compared to 2019 when the chicken craze took over.
Wow.
So in celebration, they ranked the nation's top fast food chicken sandwich chain. So coming in at number 1, Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A with number 1.
Chick-fil-A. Raising Cane's, Dave's Hot Chicken coming in at second. Raising Cane's, Shake Shack take the third and fourth spot, and Popeyes round out the top 5.
All right.
You guys look interested when you said Dave's Hot Chicken. Do you not know?
No, I gave him a look like, you know about that?
I do.
You gave me the look like,
You don't know about it.
I don't, but
I
really need to try it.
really like Dave's Hot Chicken. Are you familiar?
We have one in Vancouver, and maybe when they first opened up, they didn't have their act together because I went when they first opened up and it was not good. But maybe that's they didn't have their act together. Sometimes that happens.
I think that should be a rod on the road.
Sometimes that happens. You know, you open up and you don't
Rod on
quite
the
have
job.
everything just
Oh,
right.
yeah, I guess so. Or sometimes you open up and you put your best foot forward.
So I should give them another try if you really like.
There's one in Tualatin. That's the one that's nearest
Yeah,
me.
I've had that.
Is that the one you go to?
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, I think it's pretty awesome.
It's really,
concur?
yeah, really good. I was trying to look for, while I was on my phone, I was trying to look for the picture. So I did a bodybuilding competition. We talked about that last week.
Yes.
The last supper for me was a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich with fries and a drink, and I had a picture of it. I'm like, is it?
Any cheese on that?
No.
Any pickles?
Pickles,
Yeah,
ketchup.
pickles is good. There's a level of hot on that sandwich that I have not experienced yet. Like I think I just get like the hot because you can go mild or medium.
Dave's?
Yeah, Dave's Hot Chicken. I go hot, but there's a
Yes.
level above that I can't imagine how hot it is because I feel the hot's pretty darn hot.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah.
Anyways, Dave's Hot Chicken, we recommend it.
I did try that. We did a story on the Filipino chicken Joy, I think it's.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I don't remember
Opened
that.
one out in Beaverton.
Okay.
I thought it was
I'll look that up while
really
you're doing
good.
it for
I didn't get the
Chicken
sandwich.
Joy.
I just got the chicken, and I thought it was really, really, really good. We did that story, and there were people that were, camping out, and it was good. Here's Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club in Aloha. Blue skies this morning. Light winds, similar scene over downtown. Temperature out the door is 63 degrees. Just like yesterday is what we have. Yesterday, I think 5:02 is when PDX said the thermometer hit 90 degrees. We'll look for that again today, or at least to be close to it. 77 at noon, so take advantage of the morning hours. We have that cool down coming in tomorrow. All right. What do you got, Drew?
Jollibee.
Jollibee, yeah.
Jollibee.
I thought that Jollibee. I thought it was, I don't know where
But
I
they
got
serve
Joy.
something. No, they serve a Chicken Joy item.
Thank
but
you.
it's Jollibee is the name of the place.
Really, really good out in Beaverton, I thought. Here's Chris.
I can understand the confusion there. All right, now that we've got that all cleared up, let me take you to a ramp closure. Hey, coming up actually now, starting at 7:30 a.m. on the dot, WashDOT is going to be closing this ramp. This is 179th off of I-5 North. They say they're putting in some wrong way driver technology there at exit 9, so that'll be closed northbound from now until about 12:30. So just be on the lookout for that. Your drive, busy, but moving, right? Slow, climbing the hill on the Sunset up towards the Sylvan Hill, of course, Highway 26 there. That is live. The sun is right in the driver's face. I-5 northbound from Wilsonville, that, of course, is a little bunched up as well. And your I-5 southbound commute out of Clark County. This is the thickest bit of freeway out there right now. We're just shy of 30 minutes now to get you from Main Street down to the Fremont Bridge. Drew?
All right, thank you, Chris. Topping our news headlines here at 7:30, an update on what will be the largest layoff in the history of Oregon state government. Governor Kotek said yesterday that nearly 500 ODOT employees were told they'll be laid off at the end of the month. And another roughly 450 vacant positions were also eliminated. So that brings the total number of positions cut to 932. These cuts all stem from the Oregon legislature's failure to pass a transportation funding package last month. Governor Kotek's office says at least 100 more employees could also lose their jobs during a second round of layoffs early next year. That's assuming that this funding situation doesn't change before then. In a statement, Governor Kotek said, quote, consequences to essential transportation services are imminent across the state. This is not, she says, business as usual. These layoffs constitute an emergency in Oregon's transportation system that will hurt every part of Oregon. She did add that she could call lawmakers back to Salem saying this, quote, this emergency was preventable and we still have time to intervene. Come winter, without a shared commitment to solve this crisis from partners and lawmakers, Oregonians will be left out in the cold, literally. According to the governor's statement, the impacts from these layoffs will include cutting back on things like pothole repairs, road maintenance, and graffiti removal. And when winter does arrive, she says we can expect slower and less frequent snow and ice removal. The governor also said that ODOT will buy less sand and less de-icer and will not be able to replace the old vehicles in his fleet.
Your time now is 7:35, and we're learning more about a Coast Guard rescue along the Oregon coast in Lincoln City, where two teenagers were trapped on a steep, slippery rock this past weekend. They were stuck at the infamous God's Thumb at Road's End Point. Lincoln City Fire and Rescue captain had already gotten there to help the boys when the Coast Guard helicopter arrived to lift them to safety.
I think they were relieved that they were going to get out of there. I think they'd been sitting there for well over an hour at that point, knowing this was probably their only way out. And then it kind of went from relief to, once I got there and explained what I was going to do, there was the first survivor looked a little bit terrified.
That spot has been the scene of 6 different rescues over the last 3 years. Just 2 months ago, the Coast Guard airlifted 2 25-year-old women from the same area. Now, we have a few quick reminders for your next hike. Always try to go with someone else. Have your cell phone charged up so you can call for help. Check local trail conditions before you head out, and always pay attention to any warning signs that may be posted.
Over in Skamania County, search and rescue crews saw a 550% increase in calls last month compared to June of last year. The sheriff's office reported 12 incidents last month. That's almost one every other day, bringing this year's total to 42. Keep in mind, there were 54 calls during all 12 months of last year. So the sheriff's office shared these reminders for tackling the great outdoors. Always be prepared, know your limits, and remember to carry extra food, clothing, and water. Also remember to tell someone where you're headed and when you plan to be back so they can call for help if you don't return.
We're learning more about the number of violations and complaints when it comes to illegal use of fireworks despite Portland's fireworks ban. Portland Fire says from July 1st to yesterday, a total of 4,300 reports were filed. They also said that fireworks are to blame for 24 of 255 fires in Portland, said between June 23rd to July 6th, which actually just seems like a lot in general. But one of those fires was in East Portland's Hazelwood neighborhood and damaged power line, trees, and neighboring school playground.
Like bombs going off all around the house.
It was insanity. It was like a war zone.
Well, I think it's so dumb that there's this ban that they say, here's this ban, but also don't call the police department for firework related things. So everyone knows that they can just get away with it. So there's no point in putting the ban.
A spokesperson for Legacy Health tells us that their hospital system also saw more firework-related injuries this year compared to last year. But listen to this. They didn't give a specific number, but added that they saw a spike in fireworks-related facial injuries compared to hand injuries.
Now, the numbers are pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, this is not just a Portland problem. I don't know
No.
if you guys saw the video over the weekend from Los Angeles. But they had a helicopter up in the air rod covering the fireworks scene on the 4th in LA. Like, this was the city proper in Los Angeles where there's also a ban on fireworks. And it looked like every single street and house had fireworks exploding over the top of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, same thing. We talked, Rod and I were working last Friday morning, talking about the fireworks bans in state parks and on state beaches.
Yeah.
And then I was in Pacific City Friday night on the beach there, and my goodness. It was like from about 30 minutes before the sun went down until midnight, it was nonstop, just all over the place.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the cities, I think I'm correct on this, like Seaside, for example, I think they have a licensed city fireworks show.
Yes.
That goes off on the beach.
Yes.
Which is fantastic.
Right.
I've been there and seen it, and it's great.
I'll tell you what, the show was pretty fantastic in Pacific City as well, I got to tell you, but not a sanctioned city event.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, here's our Rose City camera this morning. This is a day a lot like yesterday. So if you don't like the hot weather, we hit 90 yesterday. Get through today, and then you have 2 really nice, comfortable days in the 70s tomorrow and Thursday to maybe get that outdoor work done that you don't want to do on these hot, clear sky days. Our early morning numbers, 63 right now, rising temperatures at this hour. And of course this morning it's just comfortable outside. It'll be this afternoon when it gets hot. Here are the shadows, early morning clear skies there at Camas Meadows Golf Course. Beautiful morning to play golf. And of course, if you're not a golfer and you don't know, a lot of golfers like to play when it's hot because the ball goes farther in the thinner air. Temperature outside 60 in Sandy, 63 in Tigard, 65 in Sherwood. We have also 65 in Salem, 68 now for you out in Silverton. Good morning to you folks. Chase is our KGW dog of the day. That's a portrait right there. Really proud looking dog, bow tie on. Use the email address, dogoftheday@kgw.com. Send us your dog's name and photo, and your dog will become our dog of the day. Remember, we do have a thunderstorm threat today in Central Oregon and then leaking up toward the Blue Mountains later in the afternoon. There is a red flag warning in Central Oregon specifically for high fire danger due to lightning strike fire start potential. So we'll keep an eye on that. It's all clear here on the west side, except for the coast where we do have clouds and fog this morning. Yesterday it was afternoon before a lot of areas started to develop some sun. Could be a similar situation today. 7-day for Portland, back up to 90. If we make it, this will become day 6 of 90-plus degree temperatures so far this season. Tomorrow we have the clouds at 75. We have morning clouds, afternoon sun, 78 Thursday. So nice, comfortable 2 days. Back to 91 just like that on Friday, the weekend now. Sunny both days in the 80s. Here's Chris.
To that, all right, let's get a look at your Clark County commute times. I-5 southbound, of course, that jumps out. It's highlighted in red, right? 27 minutes. But the 205 drive also a little busy. Let's start with that. We had an earlier crash on the southbound span of the Glenn Jackson Bridge. That's out of the way, but traffic might be a little extra thick on that side of town. Door number 2 takes us to Wilsonville. I-5 northbound, a little thick from there back towards the Boone Bridge. Again, normal congestion there. And we'll switch gears one last check here over on the east side. Door number 4, I believe, shows us the Gateway District. Yep, westbound I-84 puttering along a little bit there as well. Right now, we're up to about 30 minutes to get you in from Troutdale to the I-5 split. Keeping it on the east side in Skamania County, actually. Heads up starting in a little bit at 8 o'clock. WashDOT doing some paving on a 2-mile stretch of SR-14 just west of Franz Road. So SR-14 is only 2 lanes through there. So as they pave, they're going to have to flag alternating lanes through the work zone throughout the day today. So expect some delays there from 8 until as late as 5. Drew?
Thank you, Chris.
You know, it kind of makes you think, do I want to still live here? You know, makes us wonder.
Still to come here on Sunrise, we're continuing to follow the aftermath of the floods that destroyed Harney County in eastern Oregon this past spring. Residents say the extent of the damage is really worse than initially thought. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz is going to take us to Burns after this.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Months after heavy floods decimated eastern Oregon, the city of Burns is still looking for some help.
So they haven't received any money from FEMA, and city officials say the state hasn't really provided much help either. As Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz explains, Burns is desperate at this point for any sort of relief.
The streets of Burns, Oregon are quiet. Neighborhoods seem tranquil. But look inside a home and you'll find a different story.
This is cut up this far because The water was about here, but it wicks, you know.
Richard Campbell has lived in Burns for 12 years. Like many, his home is uninhabitable after flooding this spring.
When it was going on, a lot of people got pretty stressed out.
Campbell and many others didn't have flood insurance. Many felt like they didn't need it, since Burns never badly flooded. But this spring, that changed.
You know, it kind of makes you think, do I want to still live here, you know? Makes us wonder.
City officials say many have left. Around 500 people are displaced.
They're without resources.
Judy Irwin is the city manager and a Burns native. She's never seen the town flood so badly. But this year was different due to wildfires last summer.
Those fires removed the canopy and the underbrush in the forest, which is what normally slows down the snow melt.
Irwin says the fires happened on federal land. The Bureau of Land Management says they're replanting sagebrush and grass seed on the affected area, though Irwin says she didn't see much progress before the heavy floods.
I've lately found myself feeling really angry about what's happening.
After flooding, the city of Burns asked FEMA for assistance, though quickly city officials realized they may be on their own.
We've been told we can expect nothing from FEMA.
Irwin says FEMA told her the damage in Burns wasn't extensive enough to warrant their assistance, though Burns officials believe FEMA undercalculated the damage. We reached out to FEMA, but never heard back.
I'm very disillusioned with the federal government.
Burns also asked for $6 million in state assistance to fix its sewer system. They got half that. The county also received $3 million from the legislature.
We have a tremendous amount of repairs just on city infrastructure.
Steve McCartney is the police chief in Burns. He adds while the small town grapples with severe damage, its tax base is shrinking, making it even harder to fix infrastructure problems.
It just doesn't look hopeful at all.
Without more help, he doesn't believe Burns or Harney County will ever recover.
I don't believe they can without outside assistance. It's just that simple.
And there's worry something like this will happen again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leaving officials like Irwin and residents like Campbell left waiting for repairs to begin.
I'm hoping everything will be okay before winter comes.
As they collectively hold their breath going forward.
It affects you.
In Burns, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
All right, from Burns, we head back to downtown Portland. Our Wells Fargo Skycam gives us this sunrise shot on a Tuesday morning. China Green back from a week's vacation. Rod Hill still here as well. Rodney.
Yes, sir.
China is liking the 90s that we had yesterday and today.
Again, yeah.
I warned her, though, it's going away midweek.
For 2 days, though.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good forecast because some people don't like the sun or the heat. So you've got tomorrow and Thursday if you maybe want to put some outdoor plans off. For those of you that like it sunny and hot, you have today, and then just like that, you're going to get Friday and the weekend.
Is there any rain? I just washed my car.
No rain. Well, let me back up. It's at least possible there would be a little moisture in the air under a cloud deck that comes in tomorrow morning. We think the best chance of that's going to be along the coast, but at least possible.
Just avoid the cloud deck.
Yeah, just avoid the cloud deck. Thank you, Drew.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Here's a look at our satellite picture. Here's the cool down. I want to focus on that for a second. That's coming in tomorrow. You see the clouds, radar picking up some moisture. Futurecast likes some moisture, especially Astoria, for example, tomorrow morning. The clouds will come into the valley. It will hold temperatures down into the 70s for a couple of days. Now today, just like yesterday, up and down I-5, we're going to see temperatures up to about 90. Remember, you folks out east from Hermiston out through Pendleton, up into Walla Walla and out toward Pullman, under a heat advisory for temperatures today that are expected to be 100 to as hot as 105. You too will get some cooler weather coming in tomorrow. So focusing on these areas, there's Arlington at 106, the weather model says, 104 in Yakima, 103 in Pendleton. Here comes the cool down that you expect tomorrow. 94 Pendleton, 93 Arlington, only 87 up in Yakima. So you need to get through today's hot weather, and then you have some relief coming in. This shows the temperatures. In fact, this shows only 66 in Longview tomorrow afternoon with cloudy skies, and you folks have a reasonable chance of some light moisture in the morning as well. I zoomed in on the Palmer Snowfield. This is fun. Our Timberline Lodge camera, they have the summer ski and board camps underway. It's mostly skiing. I see some boarders. Do I see boarders or do I see skiers? I don't know, my eyes aren't good enough. But it's fun to see them on the snow up there at Timberline. They're outdoors on the snow with a temperature this morning of 64 degrees. All right, 57 up in Kelso right now. Astoria 57. The beach is reporting low clouds and fog, but inland areas are clear. And it's 70 right now in Bend and 70 degrees up in Pelton. Futurecast does show that thunderstorm threat in eastern Oregon later this afternoon and evening. A red flag warning for high fire danger, possible fire starts from lightning. So we'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, it shows low clouds just kind of hovering at least near the coast today. Here comes the cool down tomorrow with the clouds that could be with us most of the day, holding temperatures in the 70s, and then morning clouds to afternoon sun on Thursday, but potentially Thursday as well, only in the 70s. So that's coming. For today, though, it's like yesterday. 91 in Salem. This shows Corvallis at 87. Southwest Washington, mid-80s in Longview, but up closer to 90, 89 in Vancouver. And I have Portland at 90 with the sun. There are the 2 days of cooler weather, and again, especially the North Coast, maybe a touch of some light moisture in the morning. Friday, we're back to sun in 91. Right now, we've got us holding in the 80s with a sunny upcoming weekend expected. Here's Chris Meeks.
Summertime in full swing. Let's take you out to the border between Cowlitz and Wahkiakum counties here. Washed Out reporting that a section of SR4 between Fernhill and Mill Creek, that's about a 10-mile stretch, will be intermittently closed for what they're calling fire containment and cleanup. I'm working to get more details on that, but the impact will be occasional closures of SR4, so be aware of that. All right, back to the drive times. In full swing now, your I-84 commute slow and go through the Gateway District, and a solid 20 minutes of that 30-minute drive time from Troutdale is just inside of I-205, and that's normal for this hour of a Tuesday morning commute for sure. Down to Wilsonville, there's your I-5 northbound commute. It's like that, slow and steady up towards the 205 interchange in Tualatin. And last but not least, your drive out of Clark County, southbound I-5, now 30 minutes to get you in from Main Street down to the Fremont Bridge. China?
Thank you, Chris. President Donald Trump extending his deadline for tariff deal is what you need to know coming up in our national headlines when Sunrise Streaming at 7 continues.
Before we go to break, though, a quick reminder about the KGW School Supply Drive. The drive is coming soon, and right now is the time to get on board. Go to kgw.com/school to sign up your business or organization to be an official school supply drive collection site. You can help us collect school supplies and send thousands of kids and teachers in the area back to school this year with all the supplies they need.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
President Trump is busy this week with foreign affairs, working to end the 21 months of fighting in Gaza.
The president also said that he would sign an executive order extending the tariff deadline to August 1st. NBC's Alice Bauer has the latest from Washington, D.C.
It's really nice to have you at the White House.
President Trump meeting late Monday with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, looking to leverage the ceasefire between Israel and Iran into a permanent peace.
I hope it's over. Yeah, I think Iran wants to meet. I think they want to make peace.
And a window to end the 21 months of devastating fighting in Gaza. The president projecting optimism.
I don't think there's a holdup. I think things are going along very well.
Despite Hamas wanting a full end to the war in exchange for the remaining hostages, while Israel still seeks to eliminate Hamas. As negotiations continue, the White House also pressing world leaders for deals on trade, sending letters Monday to 14 countries setting new higher tariff rates, including 25% duties on major trading partners, South Korea and Japan, up to 40% for Laos and Myanmar. The president describing the letters as a more or less final offer.
Look, we're always subject to negotiate something that's fair.
Higher rates for trading partners across the world paused for 90 days were set to resume tomorrow. But the new rates are now set to take effect August 1st, though the president acknowledged that could change again.
I would say firm, but not 100% firm.
Stocks dipped Monday after the tariff news, the Treasury Secretary looking to reassure.
My mailbox was full last night with a lot of new offers, a lot of new proposals.
Promising more deals are coming. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Now to your morning rush. At least 5 people were shot outside a learning center in Akron, Ohio early Monday morning. Police say a crowd of more than 100 young people had gathered in the parking lot of a community learning center partying when gunfire broke out around 3 a.m. 5 people were shot and at least 10 others were hurt after being hit or run over by cars as people tried to escape. Detectives are reviewing security video to identify suspects and vehicles involved. A family of 4 was killed in a plane crash Monday afternoon in North Carolina. The small plane went down in a field north of Sanford. According to North Carolina Highway Patrol, 3 people died at the scene. A 4th was taken to hospital but did not survive. It's still unclear where the plane took off or where it was headed. The crash is under investigation. And Amazon Prime, those deals are back. The online shopping giant is extending this year's discounts to 4 days, starting today through early Friday morning. Amazon first launched the event in 2015, expanding it to 2 days in 2019, and now we have 4 Prime days. And that's your morning rush. KGW News at Sunrise continues live on KGW Plus at 8 o'clock with the latest on the deadly flooding in central Texas as the death toll continues to rise this morning.
Plus, a memo from the FBI that rules out a secret Epstein client list, but some people believe it's a cover-up. Elon Musk is among those weighing in on this. The billionaire's perspective coming up in our national headlines at 8 o'clock. That next hour,